So as we know, the halving is here, right? So the rewards for Bitcoin are going to decrease essentially per block mined. And we've been talking about runes a lot lately, of course, BRC20s over time, and of course, ordinals in general for, essentially a year. So we're happy that we're here early. And I definitely have told you guys, for those of you who watched, that ordinals are still here. BRC20s are absolutely not going anywhere. And runes would be the biggest pump and dump. But there's even more, right? I still genuinely do believe that this is going to be the king meme season, which is starting or essentially kicked off with BTC. And this is before we start getting into altcoin season. Now, let's take a look at the Runestone again, right? My opinion of the Runestone and the founder, I guess the team or the founder behind it is still pretty much the same, but I do understand the idea that there's a possible centralized play at hand here, because if the decision to airdrop these Runestones to 112,384 different wallets, then based on holding 3 inscriptions, right? 3 image inscriptions, not text. If you just held BRC20s in the wallet, unfortunately, you would not have received the Runestone in that particular wallet. But as long as you had some type of, image in your wallet, essentially 3 of them, you would have received one of these Runestones, close to 2 months ago, pardon me, roughly. So the person who dropped this clearly knew the plan, and he, and maybe even they in some way, could have set themselves up to receive the bulk of these by moving assets around, spending money to move them around in anticipation of the drop that they would have planned, to take place in the future. So that is the issue with the Runestone. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that the intentions were negative. I'm saying that there's a possibility that maybe this was innocently done, but it doesn't matter. Ultimately, this was a highly centralized move. Doesn't necessarily change my opinion of the founder too much, because like I said, sometimes people don't know in a way what they're doing, right? They don't know the harm that they're causing. And I think it's wise to speak to the deployer of this particular project here, the founder, and let him know our thoughts, right? But this is really the only place that my opinion has more or less, matured in a sense. It's looking at it from a different perspective. Something hit me, and listening to other people speak about it, it's like, yeah, I get it. As good as it is to receive 2 or 3 or 10 of these or 15 of these, depending on who you are and how many wallets you have, it's also a very centralized place. So to call it a fair mint or a fair distribution, it's really not fair in any way. It's fair in the sense that you didn't know it was coming and nobody had a better chance of getting it other than the founder. So how fair is it, right? Coming from BRC20s, we definitely are interested in fair mint. That is why the only tickers that are really relevant in my eyes that are runes are the ones that are fair mint. Doesn't mean you can't get into some that were pre-mined, 10%, 5%, even 20%, which we'll get into some of those too, and those will be the biggest ones, right? Ultimately, though, you want to get the ones that are fair mint, and I stand by that to this point, right? Look at what happened, so as we all know, we've officially, reached the Bitcoin halving. If we go back several hundred blocks, maybe 150 blocks or, however many, we'll get to block 84,000, at which point we'll see that, fees have started to increase. So let's let this populate and you'll see. Right now, we're actually dealing with fees. If you look at where the mouse is hovering, you'll notice that the fees are quite absurd, okay? The average fee right now as of this recording, 680. Look at some of these blocks, okay? This was the big block that was rewarded some amazing amounts of funds, okay? But not even that. Look at these fees. 1.1 million sats per VByte, okay? 70,000 sats per VByte, 10,000 sats per VByte. I mean, the market is so different now. The mempool is a mess. It's really tough to get your transactions through. And for those of you who don't know how to read the mempool, just take some time. That's it. Everything here has a label, and it will give you some idea of what it means. The simple point is it's super expensive to transact right now. And we're going to dive in a little bit more because I do want to give you guys some ideas of maybe some of the runes that you might want to collect. I'm not giving any advice on what to grab other than my opinion is that go for stuff that's fair mint, as always. And use something like this platform that gives you a clearer view of pending transactions, okay? There are many pending transactions for this one, but as you see, it's minted out. So they're not getting anything. And some other platforms, unfortunately, I just won't name names. They won't even show you this data. So you'll just be going through with mint after mint after mint, not knowing that it's done. And you're simply just paying them fees. I've seen it happen. It's happening as we speak right now, and it will continue to happen. So you want to make sure that you understand what you're getting into. This Runes protocol, like I said, is going to be the ultimate pump and dump. Okay? Watch the video. All right? I even gave you guys the blueprint for the best meme secret. Watch that video, because you wouldn't be saying, meme coins are the end of the cycle and things are going down. You have it completely wrong. Watch that video. Maybe I'll pin it at the end as well. All right. So right now we're talking about King meme season. We're about to kick off the biggest altcoin season that we've seen. Liquidity is going to be able to flow all the way into the smallest, deepest crevices of, for example, the Cosmos ecosystem that has so many app chains. There's going to be so much liquidity that's going to trickle into those things like Dimensions or, Celestia, things that are coming out with, giving interoperability and offering new ways to connect onto the Cosmos, within the Cosmos ecosystem, but it's not through the Cosmos hub directly. The liquidity is going to be able to flow that way, and it's going to start with this particular meme season. If you guys thought meme season was big on Solana, you have no idea what Bitcoin liquidity is if that's the case. All right. So look, it might still be a great time to grab one of these. I'm not going to say it is or isn't, but let me just say the snapshot is happening in and around this time. If you're watching this video from the time it's posted, probably within about 10 or 12 hours or so, maybe something like that, you still may be eligible for an airdrop. And that dog is going to go to the moon. There's no question about it. As silly and ridiculous as the name is, that dog's going to the moon. But can you afford the transaction fees? Let me know in the comments. I'm super curious to know, okay? Again, you want to use platforms like this because you want to get real live data to understand a little bit more about each of these tokens, look at the tickers, look at the values, and understand what's going on. The OGs, that have been in this since the very beginning, most of us have been in, if you've been following this channel, you've definitely been into BRC20s. At least at a minimum, you got into BRC20s when they went live. Or if you're in the Discord or the Telegram, you've been into BRC20s, even like literally day one. Okay, maybe day two or something like that. So it's fine. So this is really important, right? So centralized exchanges. Now, this is the gentleman, of course, who is the deployer of this dog go to the moon rune number 3. And of course, the runestone itself that we've been talking about for so long, right? If centralized exchanges want to list rune, or pardon me, dog, which is called dog go to the moon. I'll show you that. Actually, I showed you guys that. I'll show you again. I can show you on another platform in a quick moment, right? Dog go to the moon is going to be on one of these. We'll get there in a moment, okay? So if you want to get an allocation of that, because it's only airdrop to holders of runestones, okay? And they're essentially playing hardball and saying, if you guys want to list dog on your centralized exchange, you have to go and sweep runestones or buy runes from holders. They're trying to pump the bags. And I'll be honest, guys, something's going on in the industry right now in the depths of this ordinal space where people don't like this gentleman so much right now because they're feeling like this action is too plotted and too centralized. If you knew that 3 inscriptions, images would be sufficient for you to receive $6,000 or $7,000 or $8,000 airdrop in the future, I guess you would have prepared your wallet too, right? Let me go over here. For those of you who got into, for example, the trading card game. We talked about this trading card game so much, right? If you guys got into this trading card game and you bought cards, you might actually have 10, 20, 15, 30 cards. You could have spread those out across 5 or 6 wallets, and you would have 5 or 6 runestones, like the founder does. So again, this is why it's questionable. Now, of course, airdropping dog. So runestone snapshot is at this particular block height. Let's go check that. That's about 27 hours from this time. 840,269. So 8, of course, 420.69. Let's just go quickly take a look at the mempool and see we're at 840,121 as of this recording. There's still time. Again, I'm not saying you need to go and run and go grab one of these runestones, but if you want this dog, then that's how you're going to get it, unless you're going to buy it off of the floor. I'm just gonna say good luck with that, because the OGs, the runes, the ordinals OGs don't play. You're not getting that for pennies. All right, you're not getting that because the transaction fee alone is madness. Do I need to go back? Transaction fees nuts, $78. This is like Ethereum, and some of those on ETH are even worse, as you guys know. But Bitcoin's different. So people are patient. People will wait for the right time, because when you buy, you're looking at sats, okay? You're looking at how many sats you spent, not necessarily the US dollar value or necessarily just in straight BTC. A lot of us are looking at sats, breaking it down to that level, all right? Okay, so of course you can always go over here to get, first of all, get your BLND over here as well and join the community. But you can also get, of course, runes over here. It's one of the best platforms still, to be honest, guys. Nothing has really topped this platform for the clarity. Aside from a platform like this that gives you a little bit more of a different view in a sense, but and depending on if you have the right asset, you can get some more data from this platform, right? But you definitely want to come over here and take a look around. Look at the tokens, right? So let's just click one and just give an example. Guys, this is an example, all right? It's just an example. You want to look at something like this. Is it pre-mined? If it has 0 pre-mine, I'm telling you it's going to fly. Not instantly, because there are just so many, but it's pretty early and it's a really good number. Right? So one of these mints, you would get 1,000 per mint. Okay. Well, right now 1,000 costs $109. Is not too bad. I'm just giving you guys an example, right? So you just showing you what you want to look at, right? Look for some interesting tickers, like I mentioned in my previous video, things that have memeability, right? Something like this one. I didn't even plan to show you guys this stuff, to be honest, but something like this one is going to send to the next level. I can't even show you, like it's right there. Like, just look, 1 mint is already 10K. That's just happened today. Like just listening and watching and observing the charts. You just watch this stuff move up, over the past, let's say roughly 24 hours, right? This stuff was just watching this move, watching that percentage there move. And then now you look at the floor, it's just absolutely absurd, right? So now look, do you want to run through and grab a runestone now? It's up to you. But you can also look at some of the other pre-runes. Again, I spoke about pre-runes so many times because truthfully, this is the alpha. Okay. The alpha is grab some pre-runes and get yourself in line for airdrops. Some of them I've already dropped, like as of this recording, they're just dropping this one right now. Okay. Check this out. There's some ETH liquidity coming right there. Of course, that's the main one. If I can call it that, the main one. There could be others to come, right? There's so many more to come. I wouldn't sleep on it. But do your own research, because I genuinely have no idea when they're going to drop. You just have to be there, to be honest, guys. You just have to be there. Quickly, let's just take a look. Of course, the Bitcoin's moving. It's doing pretty well. It's at a decent level, right? And it's still at a decent level. But ultimately, the market is still, for traders, it's still looking a little more bearish. But to me, that's completely fine, because if you're looking at this from a long-term perspective and you're not necessarily flipping in and out and in and out, I don't know. I think we're doing all right, particularly when we have so many of these, so many assets in movement right now. Okay, and of course we're talking about runes, we're talking ordinals just in general, and now we have another token standard here on called runes, which to me, I already said is going to be the biggest pump and dump, because you don't want to be the last one standing with a rune in your hand when the real OGs are trying to stack as many BRC20s as they can, right? Because BRC20 2.0, BRC20, who knows whatever else is to come. All of the time that's been spent and the money and the infrastructure that's been built for BRC20s, they're learning to integrate runes into those. But BRC20s are still the reason why those protocols exist. It's the reason why people built them and maybe even changed their lives or facilitated transacting with others, So there's no way in the short term that runes is going to move past BRC20s. Yeah, in the mainstream, sure. But, that's when you start to take profits, right? When things are in the mainstream, as they say, right? So the reason why we're looking at this ETH BTC chart is because, as you see, ETH has gone down. ETH is going down. And this purple line here is to denote the halving, right? So it might be off by a day, but it's essentially, it's just the halving date, the 19th, 20th, essentially. And I'm saying, like, if things keep going well as they are, kind of moving along with more liquidities flowing into Bitcoin as usual with all these different protocols and art and tech that's coming, and not necessarily coming, but yes, absolutely coming, but also already deployed and improving on Bitcoin, then we will definitely eventually see this chart starting to move up. So is this the bottom on the daily? Is this absolutely the bottom on the ETH BTC chart right there? Is that the bottom? I don't know. I really don't know. But altcoin season is not necessarily here. I wouldn't necessarily say that. It is to some degree, but we're just barely getting started with meme coin season on Bitcoin. And I'm not going to ever be the one that's going to say, hey, meme season just began, or sorry, meme season, is like, it's the end of the market. It is absolutely not the end of the market. Like, people need to figure it out, to be honest, man. Let's let the communities ride, right? That's how it goes. Let the communities come out, and then we start getting more technical, right? So I'm watching this to see if that's the bottom, or maybe we're creating a new range, because as you see, this is kind of getting a little invalidated as we speak. This box I drew a while ago, that's good. Let it drop even more. I don't mind if ETH drops even more, right? We're going to get, Jamie Dimon. People are going to pump this up for us. So just let it drop. I'm completely fine, right? Guys, check me out over here. Why not, right? I would have given away some runestones and some other stuff, but who knows, guys? It's up to you and to let me know what you guys truly want, all right? All the best to you guys. As I always say, let's win together. This is how we do it. Thanks to those who joined me in the spaces, in the live chat, in the Discord, where we went through all of the runes, ideas, and figured out that this market is a joke. And we understand that, there seem to be some different intentions for this runes protocol, right? But, genuinely, I would say that BRC20s are where it's at. The alpha is still with ordinals, and yeah, you can have fun with runes while they last, but I don't think that that's the big play, all right? So as usual, guys, take it easy. I'm going to say it again. Let's win together. All the best, all right?